You're listening to the Major Pod Network, the only place where your favorite toy store, bar, arcade, and arena are all on the same block. Scratch that major itch.
Today on the Game Marks podcast, we play the third game in WWF Smackdown Series. WWF Smackdown, Just Bring It. Will we play it forever or future endeavor?
You're fired!
All this plus gaming news, GMP64, and Clash at the Feast. Plug in, put on those nostalgia goggles because this week's Game Marks podcast starts now.
And now, the Game Marks!
Welcome to the Game Marks podcast presented by the Major Pod Network. I'm the man they call Johnny Clash.
And I'm the man of 1,001 nicknames, George Feis. This week, Twitch chat came up with something horrible. They decided to make my name Carney and Jizzorge. Yeah, not a fan. Not going to do it. But I said it, so it's there. And this week we are playing WWF Smackdown, Just Bring It.
And as always, guys, we love to hear from you, so please leave us a review on Apple Podcasts and make sure to subscribe and rate this podcast wherever you choose to listen, and join the conversation across social media at GameMarksPod and now on Patreon at patreon.com/GameMarksPod. Georgie boy, Jizzorge Fizzies. Jizzorge Fizzies. How you doing this week? How you feeling? You good?
That's a complicated and tongue-twisting name to say. What would you be? You'd be Jizzon Clizash?
Yeah, I kind of like that one, though.
Clizash is kind of... There's your finishing move, the Clizash. I'm doing well, man. Last week was a lot of fun recording in the same room as you. I felt like it's a different kind of energy anytime that we were in the same place. But now we're back to usual, and recording in the same... space is something that we'll just have to look forward to next time that opportunity arises. But let's talk about last week. King of Coliseum, man. What a game.
What a game. I actually, right before we started recording, went back and watched the Clash at the Feast again. Really good game. It's missing a few things because it's older. It's for the PS2. It's not like a well-polished game, but whatever is there is... certainly great, and I'm more than excited to play King of Coliseum 2 one day.
Yeah, and I mean, by no means is the game lacking. For the time when you put on the nostalgia goggles or the goggles of the appropriate goggles for the time, the game had everything that you could need. It was on par with everything else, but there's always bigger and better fish. And speaking of bigger and better fish, we're going to talk about something in Patreon, where we're just talking about what's going on in Patreon. Because I'm getting a lot of flack for my episode of Future Endeavor, and I want to justify it a little bit more. But, John, tell us what's happening in Patreon this week.
All right, that's right. This week, Monday, today, if you're listening to this when the episode drops, we offer an ad-free version of this show. And now on Tuesday, we offer the show notes, these beautiful notes that we have right here in our Google Drive that really drive the show. I put these together before the episode, and now you could take them and you could follow along with the episode, or you could just, hold on to them, keep copies, and go back if you want to research something. Also on Tuesday night, GMP Game Over, the sister show to GMP64, but exclusively on Patreon. Now, Future Endeavored every Wednesday. Now, George, you played Day of Reckoning last week, and this week coming up, I will be playing WWF Warzone. And we dropped some bonus content. Last thing I dropped was I built the Retro Mania iArcade machine at Creative Pro Wrestling. It is Brian Meyer's machine, but I did a little speed through video of that. That was a lot of fun. And of course, every Friday, Clash and Burn.
Okay, so here's the thing. I'm going to start off. We'll do compliment sandwich here, or a nice, good thing sandwich here. Something good. I am planning on doing something very interesting, musically related, and that will be bonus Patreon content. So be on the lookout for that. If I can get all the bells and whistles going, this is the official announcement that something is in the works. Now the bad thing. I'm getting so much crap that I future endeavored Day of Reckoning.
Rightfully so.
But my logic was that at the time, the other games that are out, I just liked better. That's what I said then. And I don't think that the game... I feel like back in the... Well, you know, that's early episodes of the show. So maybe our critique wasn't as fine-tuned as it is now. But I think, one, the game is good. I don't hate it. I think the storyline is the best part of the game, but I don't see myself... I didn't see myself doing it then, and I still don't see myself doing it now. Playing that game without someone to play it with. For me, that's not that kind of game.
Okay, but for you saying that there's like other stuff out at the time, like I literally just switched from MLB to NHL. Like, you're not going to want to be like, oh, you know what? I'm bored of this SmackDown game or whatever was out at the time. I think I'm going to pop open the GameCube and I'm going to try this one out. Like, you don't switch back and forth. You just stick with one game. Well,
all right. So can I flip on a game from September 2019 then?
No, you can't. But no.
Because
I don't know. I don't understand that logic because, like, there's a million games out all the time.
I'm admitting my logic is flawed. And at the time, I didn't think that I enjoyed the game that much. But I say it on the episode of Future Endeavor that I had a good time playing this game. I can't quite put my finger on what doesn't seal the deal for me, but there's just something about it.
What's a GameCube game? It's always going to be missing that extra something that...
Yeah, I have high hopes for Day of Reckoning 2.
You better, because it's just as good.
We'll have to see. Maybe that'll
what's funny, though?
That'll be coming up in September of 2021.
Ooh, but you know what I remember? We headed to Creative Pro that Saturday morning to record this. This was only episode 3, I think, right? And immediately after, we interviewed Chris Statlander about her involvement in 2K20. And let's jump ahead now 2 years almost, and she's on TV with another company. Maybe working on that game. Who knows?
Yeah, I mean, I would if she ends up doing mocap for that game, I would love to have her on and talk about it again.
Yeah, and if you're a new listener here, go check that out. That was a great interview. Really takes you into what goes into like a 2K20 game or just motion capture in general, and then follow it up with the Justin Leeper interview because it dives even more into that.
Oh, yeah, and we got plenty of amazing interviews available in our archive, so make sure to go check all of them out. But, John, let's talk about the Streamer Spotlight. Because for the entire month of May, the Streamer Spotlight is the Salzer Effect. Twitch.tv/the Salzer Effect. And like we've said every week, he is playing games. He's building stuff. He went live recently and he was playing through Fall Guys. And that's a game that I've been trying to get to play on stream for a while. And it's not a good game to play solo. It's not fun. Like 99% of the good fun, the fun in that game is being dumb with your friends. So, John, I'm looking at you.
Hey, relax.
Get it, and we could play it, and we can have a good time. It'll be great.
Oh, I thought you were saying I'm your dumb friend. Got it.
No,
I don't know.
I want to be dumb with my friends.
Oh, I've watched that, and just not really a big fan of it. So not my kind of game.
Yeah, but you know what else is coming up pretty soon? We are.
What's that?
The end of this month. It's right now. It's the 17th, but coming up, we got GMP64 No Mercy at the end of May. But last week, episode 15. I can't believe we're 15 already. Episode 15 dropped in. Some crazy things happening at the end of that episode. Weird stuff.
Spooky, right?
Weird stuff.
Please check it out. We play WWF No Mercy every week, head-to-head against each other with our own brands. George picked his roster. I picked my roster. We go head-to-head. Sometimes there's a little interpromotional back and forth. It's a very fun time, guys. So please check it out on YouTube at youtube.com/GameMarksPodcast.
But, John, I think it's time for a little bit of gaming news. What do you say?
Let's go.
Are you looking to get a better grip on life? How about your video games? Well, VGF Gamers are the largest silicone gaming brand in the USA. They have a variety of different and unique skins for the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One controllers and consoles. Check out their products at vgfgamers.com and use code GameMarks to receive 15% off your order at checkout. That's GAMEMARKS at checkout. VGF Gamers. Better grip, better style.
Insomniac Games revealed last week that Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart will be arriving on time next month when the PS5 exclusive releases early in June. Much as all developers in the industry do, the studio last week confirmed that the action-adventure title has gone gold, which means they can now expect it to hit store shelves right on time. News of Ratchet & Clank Rift Away going gold was shared by Insomniac on social media earlier last week. Alongside the announcement, a video of the game's new female Lomax character, Rivet, was also shared. Now, Super Mario Party just got an online update on Nintendo Switch, but it seems that a sequel might be coming to the platform later this year. In a blog post from Zippo, the leaker indicated that the new online modes were meant as a test for Super Mario Party 2, which could release this holiday season. Zippo also indicated that an announcement will likely come during next month's all-digital E3 2021 event. Now, Guardians of the Galaxy, Army of the Dead, and WWE superstar Dave Bautista has revealed that he turned down the chance to appear in the Fast and the Furious franchise at the cost of instead pitching his idea for a movie based on the Gears of War video game series. He said, "I don't make any pretense about it. I had a chance to get meeting with WB and they were talking to me about this and that, and I said, hey, let's talk about Bane. That happened to me one other time in my career. They wanted to talk about Fast and the Furious, and I said, I'm not interested, let's talk about Marcus Phoenix." And for those unaware, Marcus Phoenix is the central protagonist from the Gears of War series, which first debuted on Xbox 360 back in 2006. And that's all the gaming news we have this week. Check back next week. So, Georgie, you know my favorite games of all time. The Gears of War series.
I was waiting for this.
The thing is, years ago, me and my friend, like around Gears 2, we would fantasy book like who would be in a Gears of War movie. I don't think I would have ever picked Batista, but now that he's like in the franchise and he's in one of the games, like I could see him actually taking that Marcus Phoenix role. But yeah, I mean, who better than Dave Bautista?
How do you not see him in that role now? Also, I'm going to add a little bit of my own breaking news. Friend of the show, AEW superstar, Platinum Max Caster, has released an album called Critically Acclaimed Volume 1, and it is now available on Spotify, and I just think that's awesome. We love Max. Max is a great friend of the pod, and yeah, I mean, I can't say that I know Anthony Bowens. I know that you've had some run-ins with him.
Yeah, Max Caster and Anthony Bowens, both two great friends of mine in the wrestling business. I actually just designed Bowens' new gear. He'll be debuting soon, so that's cool. Oh. Good for them, though. I love to see what they're doing. I talk about that a lot on Clash and Burn, how I'm just like super pumped, super excited to see like my friends on TV every week. It's really awesome, really rewarding, and yeah, I can't wait to see them all do more.
Shout out to Creative Pro.
Yeah, baby. But George, our favorite spot of the episode. Are you ready for the question of the week?
Oh, man. This week's a doozy.
Hey, yo. Game Marks. You know who I am? And I'm here to tell you about our pro wrestling tees and TeePublic stores. Now let me tell you something, Game Marks. Not only do we have the most radical shirts over at Pro Wrestling Tees, we also have a TeePublic store with even more designs, dude. So head on over to ProWrestlingTees.com/GameMarksPod and TeePublic.com/user/GameMarksPod, because when you're GMP for life.
All right. So, the question of the week, the weekly segment where you go on social media and you at us at Game Marks Pod, and you ask us a question. If we pick your question, you get a Game Marks Pod prize pack. Last week, the question was, if you could go back and relive one wrestling event from the past, what would it be? I said Bad Blood. John, did you give a definitive final answer, or are you bouncing between two?
I said WrestleMania 20, I think, would be the final end-all be-all.
Okay.
But also, then I was thinking, being at the last Nitro would have been so cool, too.
Oh. Ooh.
Or even the first Nitro.
I was going to say, what part of the simulcast would you like? You want to be on the Nitro part of the simulcast?
Oh, yeah, of course, the Nitro half. Like, historic. Like, that. Amazing.
The name says Clash, but it says Johnny Clash.
Imagine. That's what I'm going to do to you in GMP64.
All right.
But we actually got a lot of responses here, so if you want to rapid fire these, I could rapid fire these quick, because it was too hard to just pick one. I had to pick a bunch. Nick Hudson says, March 22nd, 1999, Raw, my first wrestling show, and it's a famous beer truck with Stone Cold. Justin Leeper says some epic Japanese matches he would love to see live. Any of the bouts with Masawa, Kawada, or Kabashi, Don Fry versus Takayama shoot fight, and Dynamite Kid versus Tiger Mask. Tyler Stevens says the March 26th Raw and Nitro. Oh, there we go. Sinkus says, as much as I want to say WrestleMania 17, I'm going to have to go with WrestleMania 19, being there to see Austin's last match, and HBK Y2J and the Brock Angle match would be incredible. Now, Fig Flair says Hogan joining the NWO or Royal Rumble 93, because Giant Gonzalez debuting literally made me shit my pants as a 5-year-old. Thank you for that. And Brian Power says Survivor Series 97, the tension, the historic nature of it, there will never be another moment like it. Yeah, I could agree with that one as well.
Oh, yeah. Now, this week, we have a unique situation where a person has asked such a good question, but they've done it 2 times. So, Old Man Vice is on Instagram has one already, and we're picking his question again because it was a great, great question.
Not only that, but this week he actually asked 2 good questions, so I had to still pick between 2 good questions. So keep them coming.
So Old Man Vices wants to know what non-traditional area has been used in wrestling but should be included in a wrestling game. The example that he gave was Titan Tower Roof.
Ooh. And you know what? There's actually a possibility that one's in the next game.
I have a question. Has Bash at the Beach with the actual water around the ring ever been in a game?
If anything, it was in like Nitro or Thunder, and it wasn't what it could be.
Like I would love. I know I'm going to answer the real question, but this just popped into my head. I would love where you have the 3 sides of the ring surrounded by water, and you could interact with it. And like the same way that you can like rub up someone's face against the Hell in a Cell or something, that you can like push someone into the water and then they hop back out.
Splash
and like,
around.
Yeah, I just thought that would be cool. But
all right, we're getting into Rumble Roses territory here.
In terms of non-traditional wrestling areas, what haven't they done? We've got Boiler Room.
So I have one, and it was kind of done in 2K19, but not to the fullest extent. It might have been in 2K20, but I sold the game and I don't care. The Hardy compound. The full Hardy compound. Everything that they've ever used, starting from Impact, everywhere. I want the full damn Hardy compound. Ultimate deletion. I want it all. Now, I know that's not going to be in a WWE game coming up, but how sick would that be?
Yeah, that's a really, really good answer. I'm trying to think. I mean, there's one that jumps out to me, but I don't want to be that guy.
Be that guy. That's why we're here. We're both that guy.
Well, what about? I don't remember if it was just a street fight, but the Sting, Darby, Brian Cage, and Ricky Starks. Like that was a sick looking. I guess it was just like a warehouse
in black and white. Yeah.
Like that was just like a cool area. And like they fought on multiple floors, and there were like big spots that I could see them doing like quick time events for. Like, I think it was just a street fight, but I mean, I think that would be cool. I would love to see something like that in the AEW game.
Yeah, you know what's one we're missing here that actually could be in this game as well coming up? The Firefly Funhouse match.
Firefly?
Or the Boneyard match.
Or what about the exploding barbed wire death match?
We kind of get that in Fire Pro, and it has way more explosions than what happened in real life. But
I was just saying, but I guess
digress.
More Americanized game.
Yeah,
that kind of embraces that.
Now TNA in their game has the Ultimate X match, and I always thought that was a cool addition.
That
would have been cool to see them add like Lethal Lockdown, but it just wasn't that type of game. It was made by Midway. It was very arcadey. You know, you get what you get. We got Ultimate X, and that was definitely the best part of that game.
Give me the triple cage from Ready to Rumble.
Ooh, yeah. All right, that was a good one. Now, as always, we throw it out to you, the fans. What non-traditional area that has been used in wrestling would you like to see in a wrestling video game? Let us know, and Old Man Vice's DM us to claim your second prize. I'll make sure it's different this time. George, are you ready to take those little steps off the diving board? Leave SmackDown 1, leave SmackDown 2 know your role behind us, and dive into Just Bring It.
Oh, this is going to be a long one today, John.
Damn, I'm hungry. Let's go.
Are you sick of drinking the same old boring coffee with the same old boring flavors? Well, Marks, it's time for you to check out Bones Coffee Company. Bones Coffee isn't just a drink that wakes you up in the morning. It's a full flavor experience. Small batch roasts that are made to order so that every order is guaranteed to be fresh. Unbelievable, all-natural flavors in every single bag. Some of our favorites are bluesberry, paradise pie, and chocolate raspberry. But if you're not into the flavored coffees, they've got their single origin series featuring coffee beans from the greatest coffee growing regions in the world. Visit GameMarksPod.com/coffee to place your order and try the world's freshest small batch coffee. All right, John, Bones Coffee. Let's talk about it. New returning flavor. They restocked a fan favorite. It is something that is in my pantry. It is the next bag of coffee I am opening. It is Shark Bite. It is spiced buttered rum flavored coffee. The bag smells amazing, and I hope the coffee tastes just as good, and I'm sure it will. But
oh, yeah.
I'm nearing the end of my Paradise Pie. I'm about to open up the s'more time. Summer's approaching, and I'm ready for it, John.
That's right. That's why I went with the coconut rum this time.
Oh, I
did finish up my blueberry, and I got to re-up that because that's my all-time favorite.
But hey, WWF Smackdown Just Bring It, released November 11th, 2001 for the PlayStation 2, developed by Ukes, published by THQ. And I don't even know where to start with this game. This game, I'm trying to think. I feel like so many people always just go to Here Comes the Pain, myself included.
Yeah.
I like after the first game, before Here Comes the Pain, it's just like a mix. Like, I don't know what came out when, in between where. I know they're all in that same area, but like I can't definitively tell you like this is the order. But I mean,
all right, well, SmackDown 2 came out on November 21st of 2000, and we mentioned on that episode that the first SmackDown came out in March of 2000, so those weren't even a year apart. It was like 7 months. It was a little crazy, and you said it right. It's a mix, like a mishmash before Here Comes the Pain, and then we jump into SmackDown vs. Raw from there, because SmackDown 1 and 2 are so identical almost. You know, there's new matches here and there, and they updated some characters, added some new, but then you get into Just Bring It. Now you have a full arena for the entrances, you have new stages, new characters, you could fight in the crowd. Like, they kept adding and adding. Shut Your Mouth is basically Just Bring It. They just added a little more. I think what you have to look at here is the longevity of, say, like the story modes here, because SmackDown 1 and 2, you have a season. Now, SmackDown Just Bring It, you now have an actual story mode, which we'll get to in a little bit. But I think you have to really break these down by the differences in the game. But for perspective reasons, also in 2001, wrestling was, the game-wise, all over the place. There's WWF with Authority for the PC, which we covered only a few weeks ago. There's WWF Betrayal now for the Game Boy Color. Road to WrestleMania for the Game Boy Advance. Fire Pro Wrestling D for the Dreamcast. Fire Pro Wrestling for the Game Boy Advance, All-Star Pro Wrestling 2 for the PS2, and Legends of Wrestling 2 for the PS2, GameCube, and Xbox. That is a massive list of games to come out in only 1 year.
Yeah, that's... Holy crap. Wow, that's...
Now, this was also... In the first 2 games, you kind of had the same, like, I don't want to call it stock music, because I'm sure it was made just for the SmackDown games, but, like, the same music played throughout the match the whole time. This was the first game in the SmackDown series to actually have announcers, and we get the legendary duo of Michael Cole and Taz.
I think this may be, aside from, like, the classics, like, you know, Jim Ross and
Against the ropes.
And
off the ropes.
I think Taz and Michael Cole may be one of my favorite commentary teams.
Taz was great. He added just like a different dimension that you weren't used to into commentary.
Oh yeah, and now
like
that we
the
get
Brooklyn guy, yeah.
And now that we get Taz on AEW, it's great. I just think Taz is really good on commentary. I love when he was in TNA. Like Taz is a great wrestler. I'm not saying he's a better commentary guy than he is a wrestler, because he was a phenomenal wrestler. But the longevity and the way that he's been able to position himself as like this great commentary guy, it's awesome.
Yeah.
You feel the love that he has for the business.
Absolutely, yeah. Even on his radio show, you could really hear it. Now, this game was the first to give wrestlers 2 finishers. SmackDown 1 and 2, we saw that it was, Jeff had the Swanton Bomb or whatnot. Like, this game now... For example, Jeff will have the Swanton Bomb, but he'll also have the Twist of Fate, and you just use a directional arrow to get to that. Also, the first game that allows you to edit the wrestlers' movesets. So you're really getting into like customization territory here, where you don't like the pedigree, Triple H can now do the last ride or the stunner or whatever you want.
I wish so many more games had that.
Like the first SmackDowns? Like No Mercy?
Like No Mercy. I really wish just like... had it so that I don't have to hack the game for when we do GMP64. It's an extra feature that I thought was fun.
Yeah, you know what? You own the game. You bought the game. You should be able to customize it the way you want. Now, we said before this was the first of the SmackDown games to have real entrances, because the first 2 games you only had those FMV entrance videos playing behind the wrestler as they made their entrance. You finally get the real entrance here. The crowd is very, very ugly and papery, but setting the stage of the entrance and the arena, and honestly, for the first game that they're able to put that into, it looked really good.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like this is one of those situations where it was like, yeah, the crowd is horrible. It by no means looks good, but the mechanic that's in this game, what was the recent, it wasn't 2K20, you couldn't do it, I don't think. You couldn't battle in the crowd in 2K20. Could you do it in 2K18? There were one of the games in that came out recently in the 2K series had the ability where you could fight in the crowd in a section. It's literally
that like little back section with like the table and you could climb on it, right?
It's literally the same mechanic used in this game. Like a mechanic that was made and developed in 2001 is the same mechanic that is being used in, in 2016, 2017, whatever year it was. But to me, that's just like such a crazy thing. Like at the time, that was insanely innovative. And, if I'm pretty sure they mention it on the packaging, or it was promoted as a feature in the game. But if you didn't see all the commercials and stuff, and you just like discover that one day, like mind blowing, like holy crap, this is so cool. All right, so I got a question for you. Do you want to talk about the grapple system in this game?
Oh boy, do I.
It's a barn burner of you. Every match was a 5-star match.
It's just a lot of... This is the first game where you could literally reverse every single move. And it's so easy to reverse these moves.
Yeah, it's wild. I don't think I have ever seen me and John have a more competitive Clash at the Feast ever. I mean, the gameplay itself, playing against the computer, you expect to kind of get the better hand and have a lot of reversals.
Yeah. It's a little too much.
It was, I almost, it's almost like kind of shocked the game for me. Like, it was just like, I knew the first 10 minutes of the match that you and I were playing was going to just be going back and forth. It was going to be just sliding in between the legs. It was going to be blocking the punch. It was going to be fireman's carry reversal. Like, it was just the same animations over and over and over.
No matter what point in the match, you're still hitting like hammer locks and fireman's carries
back elbows and back elbows to break the back grapple. So the most effective move.
Yeah. So do you want to get into these game modes here?
Yeah. So let's talk about it. So we'll spend a little time in a little bit talking about the story mode. We'll do a little breakdown of that, but you have your match types. We like to, they fall under the exhibition section typically. You have your singles, your tag, your 6-man tag, handicap, Royal Rumble, King of the Ring, hardcore, falls count anywhere, survival, and your special matches. Now, within the special matches, you have cage, I quit, table, ladder, TLC, special referee, Hell in a Cell, Iron Man, 3 stages of hell, which is you pick 3 matches and you have a best of 3, slobber knocker, and then you have 3 unlockable modes: last man standing, ultimate submission, and a street fight.
That's right. An ultimate submission is just an Iron Man match, but only submissions. Now, one thing they added to this game, we said in this list, was a 6-man tag match. That is the first game to actually have this. And they also added in 8-man Battle Royal eliminations match. And we don't see that again until 2K18.
Damn.
Now, do we want to run through this story mode here? I want to set it up by saying the SmackDown 1 and 2 story modes, or they're called season modes, are a bit different. They're more, I guess, you see the whole card, you see the whole show, you simulate the rest, and then you go through your match. Something could happen. It might just be a match, or you might get an interview, you might be called out or something. They're like little cutscenes, and we showed some of those when we went through SmackDown 2. Now, this game, rather than a season mode, it's presented more of a story mode. So you're given control over a single wrestler, and there's actually a free roam mode, which is more like a backstage brawl type. Like, it controls like that. Like, you run down the halls, and you just don't fight anyone. Basically what you see in like 2K19 and a few of the others, where you could just free roam backstage and figure out what to do. You can choose which title you go after. You could choose your tag team partners, and you could obtain unlockables and additional superstars, which we'll talk about in a little bit as well. But it's just a different dynamic from the first 2 SmackDown games, where it's an actual story you're following. More similar to what you see in games today and going forward than what was in the original SmackDown games.
Yeah, and I mean, it's the beginning of, I'm trying to think of the right word. It's the foundation of what you expect today in like the more modern wrestling titles. Like, it's a step up from like you said, the season mode, but we're not quite at showcase modes, and we're not quite at, create your own wrestler and take them through a wrestling career. Like, it's good. It feels good. It's fun. It's a little extra something, so you're not just constantly grinding matches, and it's not something that's as super heavy,
super load timey.
Yeah, I would say it's load times, and it's mainly just you looking at the run sheets. Like, that's really all the season mode was, is that, like, here's the run sheet for tonight. Okay, what matches do you want to sim, and what matches do you want to play? Okay, here's the next week. here's the next week, and then you just do that, and you're like, oh, different background. Now you're at a pay-per-view.
Yeah, they get a little annoying, a little repetitive.
Yeah, a little repetitive, but it's nice to have a step up here. But
and
John,
you could play as a created wrestler.
Oh yeah,
which is good. And now we saw the first SmackDown and Raw. Yeah, the first two SmackDown games did not have the best creator wrestler mode. They were SmackDown 1 at least was probably the worst creator wrestler mode in all of creator wrestler history. But this one, you're actually able to layer patterns on gear, change colors. You could also create a stable, create your own taunt. So if someone's not in this game, you could actually accurately, to an extent, make them. Like, I actually watched a run-through before of someone making X-Pac, and it looked pretty okay. You could put the DX logo where you want to put it. It's, again, like we said with the story mode, very similar to what you see today. This is the step in the right direction, finally.
Absolutely. It's the leap that we needed to take in 2001.
Right.
But John, would you like to take a lighter week here? We had a pretty massive roster this week. How about I read the main roster and you read the secret unlockable characters?
Okay, but before we do that, let's hear a word from our sponsors.
All right, so your roster for SmackDown, just bring it. Albert, The Big Show, Billy Gunn, Bradshaw, Bubba Ray Dudley, Chris Benoit, Chris Jericho, Christian, Crash Holly, Dean Malenko, Devon Dudley, Edge, Eddie Guerrero, Farouk, Hardcore Holly, Ivory, Jeff Hardy, Kane, Kurt Angle, Lita, Matt Hardy, Molly Holly, Perry Saturn, Raven, Rikishi, The Rock, Steve Austin, Steve Blackman, Steven Richards, Taz, Test, Triple H, Trish Stratus, The Undertaker, Vince McMahon, and William Regal.
And now your secret unlockable characters: Jerry Lynn, Mick Foley, Rhino, Shane McMahon, Spike Dudley, Stephanie McMahon Helmsley, Tajiri, and there's one more, but we're not going to reveal it until the Did You Know section. Now, this game, people weren't too happy with this roster because it is a little outdated. This takes place after the invasion, and it's missing guys like Rob Van Dam, Booker T, DDP, Hurricane, Lance Storm, Mike Awesome, etc., etc. And it does include the ones that were there at the time, like William Regal, Raven, Rhino, Tajiri, Jerry Lynn. And rather than have the invasion logo and arena and all that, Fully Loaded 2000 is one of the pay-per-view mats. So you know that this game was in development before the invasion even happened, because that is the pay-per-view that replaced it.
I'm trying to think. In terms of arenas, where does this game rank on presentation? Because I know the first time that I played, I forgot how nice some of the arenas actually looked in this game.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's good. It's more like open than, say, like No Mercy. Like No Mercy looked like a small arena. Everything just looked like a very tight-knit, dark arena. These looked like actual, like if you were sitting in Nassau Coliseum, it looks like you're in an actual Coliseum. All right, but let's go through the arenas here, because we have Raw 2001, SmackDown 2001, which is the Ovaltron, SmackDown 2002, which is the Fist, Heat 2001, which is also the Ovaltron, WrestleMania X7, and WWF Insurrection 2001. Now, this game, just like the last game, also featured a generic pay-per-view arena, and you just assign the ring mat and apron to the arena, and that kind of makes it, you know, the pay-per-view, which to me, I don't know how you feel about that, because I'm not the biggest fan of that.
A little bit of a cop-out.
Yeah, right? Like, you put so much into this game, and then you're going to cop out on these arenas?
Yeah, I mean, that's not where I'm optimized, or I'm optioning to cut costs.
Yeah, but you do have 5 normal, regular ring aprons. There's, you know, you could change blue, gray, a different blue, different gray. You have Fully Loaded 2000, SummerSlam, Unforgiven, No Mercy, Survivor Series, Armageddon, Royal Rumble 2001, No Way Out, WrestleMania X7, Backlash, Insurrection, Judgment Day, King of the Ring, and then Raw, SmackDown, New SmackDown, and Heat.
Oh, the Fist SmackDown, such a good arena. Ugh.
Classic.
So
classic. Good. Now, we also saw the addition of backstage arenas in the past SmackDown games, and it expanded a little bit even more in this one. You want to read those?
Yeah, so your backstage areas are the Boiler Room, the Commissioner Room, Corridor A, Corridor B, Dressing Room A, Dressing Room B, Lobby, Office, Parking Lot, Plaza, VIP Room, and this is the first appearance, I believe, of Times Square.
Yes, because WWF New York in the previous game was just kind of like downstairs in, like the downstairs section of the corridor. But this is only a year before WWF New York becomes WWE The World. And sometimes, whether it's a band, a movie, a TV show, once that name switch happens, sometimes it just goes all downhill because the world closed in April of 2003.
Did you ever go?
I went. It used to be kind of a tradition that I would go for my birthday and I would take one of my cousins. So I would say I went 3 or 4 times. One time I was there, Brock was there, and it was a madhouse. So we didn't know he was going to be there that day. So we walked in and I think I bought a Hardy Boy shirt and walked right out. You couldn't even get in there.
Damn, I never got to go.
You didn't miss anything on the food. If you go to the Hard Rock today, you're going to get the same burger.
All right, John. So let's talk about the graphics of this game, because I feel like we're on next gen now. We're on PlayStation 2. Things have been stepped up a little bit. That opening FMV video package is a little misleading to the quality of the graphics. It's gorgeous, but listen, the models look great. They're not perfect, but for 2001, it's not bad. I think my favorite thing so far is Cole and Taz sitting ringside.
Oh yeah, it's great.
That's always been something that I've loved about this game, and think that it's just always been such a I like when they put the commentary team at ringside.
Yeah, and it's not a lot of games where they did
a table.
And you could tell, it just misses something. I'll say it, like Day of Reckoning, like the GameCube games. Yeah, but overall, the graphics, I think, are just an upgraded version of SmackDown 1 and 2.
Yeah, I could. They're cleaner,
smoother,
a little more polished. Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, I don't know. This whole series of games gets me a little nostalgic, so it's kind of hard to not go into these with nostalgia goggles, right. But trying to be unbiased about the whole thing. I still think the most ridiculous thing about this game is the reversal system.
So ridiculous. And watch Clash at the Feast if you want to check that out, because it's literally all the matches. Oh, yeah. Now let's get into this cover here, because you actually pointed out last week that it is the same as Exciting Pro Wrestling 3. So the SmackDown series in Japan is just known as Exciting Pro Wrestling Series, not SmackDown. Now, if you look at the two covers, they're identical, except for the actual Just Bring It logo now has Exciting Pro Wrestling 3 next to it, and in the top right corner, it says World Wrestling Federation. But we have The Rock, big, giving the Just Bring It. This is his game after all. Kurt Angle with an ankle lock in the background, and Triple H really big now on the back. It says Just Bring It with an enhanced story mode, thousands of moves. Taz and Michael Cole call the action. 70 match types. I guess when you mix and match them all, it comes down to 70. And authentic entrances, and you got Undertaker with his big red Harley Davidson.
Oh, man. Now, again, we've mentioned this a bunch of times in the past. This is not in squares. The little screenshots of everything happening are not in squares, so it makes it feel a little more lively. It's got a little more playfulness, a little more fun
what it
to
is.
It's cool. It looks good. Everything about this is.
But do you know what it's emulating?
The fist.
Okay. The SmackDown fist, little glass pieces.
Yeah, it's the Smackdown fist. Come on.
Well,
It's not my
you didn't
first
say
rodeo.
it. They can't see what your brain is saying.
Hard. All right. But, you know what another really cool thing is about this back cover is the fact that, did you know? Did you know this is Jerry Lynn's only WWF video game as he was released 5 months later?
Did you know SmackDown Just Bring It starts on eBay at $10 and climbs up to $120 brand new in package, while Exciting Pro Wrestling 3 also starts around the same and goes up to $150.
Did you know Limp Bizkit vocalist Fred Durst appears in this game as a condition of allowing Rollin' to be used as The Undertaker's entrance music?
That's right, this and WWF Raw, WWE Raw for Xbox, the only two games Fred Durst is available in. Now, I feel like a lot of people hate that, but a lot of people love it. Personally, I love it. Listen, if you're going to get Terminator in 2K whatever, if you're going to get all these bullshit characters,
I don't need them either. There's plenty of other wrestlers on the roster that could use those spots. I don't need Fred Durst. I don't need to have the Terminator and
you don't need
17 versions of Triple H. Like I just don't.
Okay.
I don't want the Terminator. I've never played as the Terminator.
All right. Well, that's you. I personally love Fred Durst, and I played with him many times in these video games. So,
well, that says a lot.
So you're telling me right now, if Roman Reigns,
if Fred Durst is in a video game,
if Roman Reigns entered Mortal Kombat, you wouldn't play as him? Thank you. Come again. No, it's not. It's literally the same thing.
Different. No, it's not. That's a wrestler in a fighting game.
This is a fighter in a wrestling game. It's same world.
No. You know what? What you just said is a sports entertainer wrestler in a fighting game. This is a musician in a fighting game.
Yeah. So what's the difference? It's two different worlds colliding.
It's combat sport. No, you said combat sport.
Mortal Kombat's a combat sport? It's fake.
Sense. No. Asshole. Wrestling is a combat sport, and it's a combat video game in Mortal Kombat. Those two make sense. They complement each other. They're in the same chapter of the wrestling video games.
No, they're not.
Or in the video game book. They're fighting games.
Wrestling's considered a sports game.
Okay. What era are we talking about?
Any era.
Because
except
this game
WrestleMania, the arcade game.
They start putting bra and panties matches in this game. That's not sports. That's entertainment.
And it's not fighting then. You just proved your own point wrong.
But
okay, so Mickie James in a Mortal Kombat in 2009, or Fred Durst, who is actually on TV, on Monday Night Raw, on SmackDown, on WrestleMania, in a wrestling game.
I guess there's an argument to be made either way. For me, it was never something that interested me. I don't need the erroneous extra characters. Just give me people who are actually on the roster.
Do me a favor and never play Super Smash Brothers again.
I'm confused.
So you want Pikachu in a fighting game? Okay, check
John,
and mate.
You're not making a good point.
How's that not a good point
at all? I'm not sitting here and arguing with you.
You are though.
About
so, all right. So never be the Wii Fit trainer in Super Smash Brothers. Okay, got it. Okay, great.
We're gonna pick this up another day.
Yeah,
this debate is not.
You know
over.
what? You're a little tense. You're looking. I don't know. You need like a haircut or something. What if I take you through some ratings and reviews?
I'm gonna sit here and I'm gonna drink my PBR hard cold brew while you read it.
All right. I see which side you're really on. All right. Metacritic with a 76 out of 100. All Game with a 4 out of 5 stars. EGM with a 7.67. They're back. Out of 10. Eurogamer with a 7 out of 10. Famitsu 29 out of 40. Game Informer 8 out of 10. Game Pro 4 out of 5 stars. Game Revolution a B+. Game Spot 8.1 out of 10. Game Spy 85%. Game Zone 8 out of 10. IGN 7.8 out of 10. Next Generation with a 3 out of 5 stars. OPM with a 3.5 out of 5. BBC Sport with an 87%, and Maxim Magazine with an 8 out of 10. Now, this game ended up selling more than 400,000 units in North America, and this added to the and it was added to the Sony's Greatest Hits collection for the PS2 on October 17th of 2002, and became THQ's second Greatest Hits game, only behind Red Faction. Now, the game was also, we've seen this with many games, re-released under WWE Smackdown Just Bring It because of the lawsuit that we all just know and love. And
what lawsuit?
You know, the World Wildlife Fund, the pandas running around with the steel chairs.
I thought you were talking about a different lawsuit. Sorry.
Oh, okay. Now, the in-game commentary has been criticized for being disjointed and repetitive. Noticeably, when the wrestlers' names are called or move names are called, there's a lot of pauses. Now, Gary Whitta of Next Generation said, marred with some serious flaws and a jarring lack of atmosphere, Just Bring It still delivers a few wrestling thrills. And it did receive a Platinum Sales Award from the Entertainment and Leisure Software Publishers Association, indicating sales of at least 300,000 copies in the UK as well.
All right, so listen, we had a good run, John. We made it several weeks, months, I actually think. But we got a 7.62 rating.
Yeah, but I can't say I really disagree with any of these. This game is...
but I just hate the oddly specific. We've talked about it.
Yeah.
It's just too fine of a rating. Like, just give it a 7.6 or a 7.7.
I gotta say, though, like, yeah, this game, like, teeters that okay to good margin. It's not great. It's not bad. Like, a 7 rating is pretty much where it should be.
Yeah, I agree with the ratings that have been that were given. I'm just trying not to be a stickler about the weird decimal points. But yeah. So listen, we've talked about everyone else's ratings, but you think it's time for us to offer up our ratings?
Yeah, I think it might be time to rate the games.
The game!
All right, Johnny Clash, WWF Smackdown, Just Bring It. Will you play it forever or future endeavor?
You're fired!
This one was a tough one going in. SmackDown 1, SmackDown 2, SmackDown vs. Raw, SmackDown Here Comes the Pain. We have hit play it forever on all of those. Both of us. No splits, nothing. Bear Bronson joined us for Here Comes the Pain. Obviously, play it forever. This game, it's not bad. But I think I would go back and either play an old one or play Here Comes the Pain. Now, saying that, I've never played Shut Your Mouth. That is one that I skipped. I did play this. I did play the old ones. I played Here Comes the Pain. Shut Your Mouth is foreign to me. I know nothing about it. I have high hopes for it because this game is headed in the right direction, but unfortunately I'm going to give it a big ol' future endeavor.
You're fired!
And George, what about you? Will you play it forever or future endeavor?
So it's funny that the points that you made, because that's literally what I was thinking. And, this is exactly how you said it. It's a good game. But just knowing, I feel like I'm kind of in a World Tour situation here. When World Tour comes out, I love that game. I play that game for hours and hours with my friends, with my cousins. Like, that game is I spend more time inside that summer than riding my bike like outside with my friends. And I you know what? I'm going to learn from my mistakes.
Oh.
I like this game. And I think it holds up. I think I'm allowed to like this game and the ones that came before it and the ones that came after it because they're good games. I'm not going to say that it's the greatest game I've ever played, but the SmackDown series, before it goes to SmackDown vs. Raw, is a consistently good series. Are some great? Yes, but everything is good. So you know what? I'm flipping the script here. I was gonna future endeavor it, but I'm learning from my mistakes. I'm gonna play it forever. Woo!
All right, and I mean, that means somewhere down the line, I will be seeing this game again in the future. So, you're off the hook for that one.
All right.
But okay, with that, the last thing we have to do here, George, let's talk about Clash at the Feast. Alright, so youtube.com/GameMarksPodcast for this week's episode where we played WWF Smackdown Just Bring It. Last week we played King of Colosseum Red, match number 1, Kaz Hayashi versus Jushin Thunder Liger. You beat me as Liger. Second match, I was Sasuke, you were Dr. Death, and I won that one. And the third match, you defeated Scott Norton as Giant Singh, even though they were the same height. For your winner this week, George Feis.
Hey, that's my name. You can go ahead and play my music. All right, so I got something in my brain last week. Something slipped in there, and it put a little idea in my head. So we said that King of Colosseum felt very much like a 3D Fire Pro. So that jogged my memory a little bit, and I remembered that there actually is a 3D Fire Pro, and that's why next week on the podcast, for the PlayStation 1, we are playing Fire Pro Wrestling Iron Slam 96.
Another Fire Pro in the arsenal. All right,
been a while.
Cool. It has been a while. But I mean, we've talked about everything there is to talk about SmackDown Just Bring It. Georgie, take us home.
All right. Well, that's going to do it for us this week on the Game Marks Podcast. Please check out our merchandise at GameMarksPod.com/shop and join us on Patreon at Patreon.com/GameMarksPod. It is the best way besides listening to support the podcast, and be sure to follow us on all forms of social media at GameMarksPod. Leave us a review and a rating on Apple Podcasts and subscribe to wherever great podcasts can be found. Hey, John. Thanks for doing this for like 90 weeks with me.
92. Unbelievable.
As always, wash your hands. If you have to, in places, wear your face masks. Social distance. Do the things that keep us safe. Get the vaccine, and we will see you next time. John, do that thing that you do.
Game over, jabronis.
Game Marks Podcast, put them on the radar. Playing rare games, Sega Saturn, no Game Shark. Johnny and George work hard and they play hard. Future endeavor games and put them in the graveyard. From the deep dive to the Clash at the Feast. How can I get more? That's question of the week. Follow on Twitch, there's nothing that they won't play. Game Marks Podcast every single Monday.
What's up, Game Marks? This is Justin Summers from the Wrestling Cheers podcast, and on Wrestling Cheers, we'd like to talk about things going on in the Northeast Ohio independent wrestling scene, mainly absolute intense wrestling out of Cleveland, Ohio. We preview shows, we review shows, and sometimes we even have interviews along the way. These interviews can range from wrestlers to podcasters, and even interviews with fellow fans, finding out how we became fans and what we like about AIW. You can find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Wrestling Cheers, and you can also find us wherever you download your podcasts, whether it be Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, Stitcher, TuneIn, YouTube, Spotify, iHeartRadio, or Pandora, and we're at Podbean, WrestlingCheers.podbean.com. And once again, that's Wrestling Cheers, where everybody knows your name, especially when you're a Game Mark.